Assalamualaikum, selamat siang Bu Laksni.
Ya, selamat siang Bu Dini. Bu Dini nanti kalau saya udah kelihatan ngaku-ngaku tolong diambil alih ya.
Santai aja Bu.
Terbata-bata gitu, tolong nanti diambil alih. Dikasih clue atau gimana sehingga saya bisa lanjut lagi.
Aman Bu, siap. Terima kasih sudah join early. Mau nyoba share screen Bu Laksni?
Oke.
Dulu ya. Ya, jelas terlihat Bu, aman. Terima kasih.
Sudah cukup kan saya? Ini
Sudah. Oh, Bu Laksni kecil sekali. Di bawah. Kecil sekali jadinya.
Enggak apa-apa, udah biar daripada nutupi tulisannya nanti saya malah nggak bisa. Enggak apa-apa ya, kecil segini kan tapi kan kelihatan.
Iya, di samping nanti ada kok ya speakernya.
Iya.
Nah, pembicara tulisan. Oke.
Udah cukup? Saya
Cukup
stop.
Bu. Ya, terima kasih. Sebentar, yang dari Filipina masih belum join. Ini kenapa ya? Mahasiswanya udah diundang semua ya, Bu?
Ini saya tuh sudah share di Prodi ya, saya nggak tahu Prodi udah, tapi yang ikut penelitian saya sih sudah saya kasih linknya. Yang tim penelitian saya kan, tapi nggak banyak, cuma 6 orang sih.
Oh, di Prodi belum ya, Bu? Prodi sudah ya, Bu? Pak Supairi?
Saya sudah share ke Prodi, cuma nggak tahu Prodinya melanjutkan atau tidak. Cuman sebentar, saya coba share ke mahasiswa saya. Mahasiswa saya itu cuma angkatan cuman semester 5 yang sekarang ikut kuliah saya.
Semuanya suruh join aja, Bu, nggak apa-apa.
Ya.
Yang angkatan bawah juga. Terima kasih. Good afternoon, Professor Mary Earl. Thank you so much for joining early.
Yes, good afternoon.
How are you? How are you today? Yes. Have you shared the invitation to your students as well?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Would you like to try to share your screen?
Okay.
Okay, I can see the screen. Thank you so much. How many students are joining from your side, Professor Mary Earl?
I think there are the third year. Siguro mga around 80 to 100.
Oh, hopefully all of them are joining. That's great. 80 to 100.
That 2-year levels, there would be 2-year levels.
2-year level. That's great. From Dr. Laksni class as well. It's from the 5th semester, right, Dr. Laksni?
From the civil engineering department.
Civil engineering, yes. How's the weather there?
This is the second to the last, right? There would be another.
Oh, yes, second to the last. Here in Malang, we have rainy weather this past few days. So we have flood here and there. How about there in Philippines?
Yeah, it's also raining a lot. There's a lot of rain than the usual. This is supposed to be a non-stormy month, but it now is.
Yes.
So we have like within the week we had 2 storms. We had 2
storms.
typhoons.
Oh wow. Okay.
But fortunately, in our area, it's not affecting us so much. It's just the rains. Some
Okay.
areas would have a flood also.
Flood as well. Yeah, yeah. So it's good for all of you. Hopefully everyone stays safe in this kind of weather. Okay.
Yeah.
You should get a glass of water first. You okay? You have it? Yeah.
I hope it will not ruin my lecture later. I developed the cough just today.
Oh, okay. Maybe because of the weather, yeah.
Yeah.
We will begin in 3 minutes time. Please wait for a moment.
Begini, can you send the VP?
The virtual background is, yeah, it's in the
uh,
chat
uh,
already.
Via the WA, via the WhatsApp? Because
Yeah,
can
I can send it again in the WhatsApp. It's also in the chat box.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Oh, okay.
Students, some of students
Are joining? Okay,
admit,
yeah.
from the host.
Yeah, soon we will admit all the students. Let me see. I think there is something wrong with my setting, so I don't think I can use the virtual background. We just turned in because my face got all white because of the virtual background. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for waiting. Okay, hello everyone. Once again, good afternoon. Greetings from University of Merdeka, Malang. I hope all of you are doing well. My name is Andini Risvandini. I am your moderator for today's International Collaborative Teaching with the topic of flood risk management, implementation of research-based learning in a flood-prone area, and multi-risk assessment of heritage buildings. This event is proudly presented to you by the collaboration of Office of International Affairs, Faculty of Engineering from University of Merdeka Malang, and Central Philippine University. Please allow me to extend our warmest greetings to the Dean of Faculty of Engineering from University of Merdeka Malang, Professor Agus Suprapto, to the Dean of Faculty of Engineering from Central Philippine University, Dean Danny Molina, to the Head of Office of International Affairs from Central Philippine University, Ms. K. Ardengayo, MED, to the esteemed speakers of today's International Collaborative Teaching, Dr. Insinyur Laksni Sedyowati, M.Sc. from University of Merdeka Malang, Professor Mary Earl Daryl A. Grio from Grio CE from Central Philippine University, to our students from the Faculty of Engineering, and to the students from the Faculty of Engineering from Central Philippine University. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to this International Collaborative Teaching. Please be advised that all of our lecture series can be found in our YouTube channel at OIA Unmer. For all the participants, we will have the Q&A session at the end of each presentation. Please kindly type in your questions in the Zoom chat box, kindly state your name, where do you come from, and followed by your questions. Now, as we have come to the main event of this lecture, please welcome Dr. Insinyur Laksni Sedyowati, M.Sc. from University of Merdeka, Malang. Without further ado, Dr. Laksni, the platform is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Okay, let me share my presentation here. My presentation title is Flood Risk Management, Implementation of Research-Based Learning and a Floodplain in Malang City. The content of this presentation: firstly, I will give brief explanation on integrated flood management or IFM concept. And secondly, research-based learning or semester learning plan. And lastly is sharing experience of the implementation of IFM concept in a flood-prone area to minimize flood risk and increase community well-being towards sustainable community. As part this activity is part of research-based learning for final year students. This is the overview about IFM. Settling on floodplains has enormous advantages. The deep fertile alluvial soil of floodplains, the result of ions of flooding, is ideal for higher crop yields, and the location provide good market access. However, at the same time, and on a floodplain has great risks like flooding, scoring or erosion, and landslide. So this area is not ideal for settlement or houses. We can see here how much the carrying capacity of the land. The land is the part of the river to withstand the load of the buildings here. So this area is not ideal for a settlement, actually not ideal for settlement or houses. And this area, I mean that flood-prone area, the balancing of the development needs and risks is essential. The evidence both ways is that people will not, and in certain circumstances, cannot abandon flood-prone areas. And the most important thing here, there is a need, therefore, to find ways of making life sustainable in the floodplains, even if there is considerable risk to life and property. And the best approach is the integrated management of floods. Or maybe if there is other disaster in this area. The concept of IFM already developed in some countries in the world, like here, the flood-prone area in the Mississippi River. There is a flood management there. So if the water level rise, there's already a system how the mechanism, so the big city along the Mississippi River that did not experience flood damage or flood disaster there. There is it's called the integrated flood management. This is the link, so you can directly access to the web and read or learn how they manage the flood-prone area and the Mississippi River catchments. This is another example in the Honduras. There's you see we can avoid people from the river, so we have to balancing about the development and the securing people from the disaster. This is another example. It the Venice, Italy. Yes, the building directly submerged by the river water, but there are also mechanism for how to protect the building, and so the losses can be minimized, and etc. This is the what is application? Yeah, application to floodplain mapping and risk analysis, developed by PCSWMM. So if you want to know further, you can click this link and you can study how they develop a floodplain mapping and risk analysis. This is an example from the Netherlands, Merdeka River, flooded land and floodplains. And there's also good or best practice how to manage the flood-prone area in the Europe, Netherlands, etc. This is the biggest floodplain area in Netherlands that will develop to the city park. That this area is served to submerge with water when there is heavy rainfall or typhoon there. So this area is not eligible for settlement or houses or building. Just leave the open area. So if there are typhoon or heavy rainfall, this area will be submerged. This program is called Room for the River. Room for the River encompass for river the Rhine, the Meuse, the Waal, and the Isel. Now we in Philippines and Indonesia probably have same situation that now we experiencing the heavier rainfall, but because of the climate change and the mean sea water level become higher time to time because of the impact of the climate change. So the river need more room in order to not flowing uncontrolled to other place. So we have to provide room for river so we can control the danger of the river flow. This is the program of Room for the River. Belong to Integrated Water Management Program. The background of this program is the risk of flooding in the Netherlands is steadily growing. The capacity of floodplains and rivers are decreasing, and water levels rise due to more frequent and heavier rainfall. This is the background why there are room for the river program. This is integrated flood management, a river catchment approach in the UK, especially in the Thames River. So maybe the students can read by their own. So there is a lot of measure undertake there. So maybe we can adopt this this mechanism for our country. This is Ara River. Okay. In Indonesia, the Ara River became famous because of the disappearance of the son of a governor in Indonesia, carried by the Ara River. You can see here in this country, the flood-prone area developed for settlement, but there are still a lot of green open space there. We also know about the waterfront city and disaster management effort. City with directly face the ocean or the coastal area. And the last year is developed being waterfront city. So this is have an objective as a tourism destination because the view is very good and etc. So the city is developed to be one of the tourism destination. But however, there still poses potential what is hazard here. So we have waterfront city concept generally focus on social and economic activities located in coastal areas. It is also necessary to consider the potential for natural disaster that can paralyze these activities. Therefore, it is necessary to identify the potential, the risks, and the needs to anticipate or to control the risks of the disaster that will that may be happen there. There's this dialogue block is a question for all audience here. Are there other floodplain areas that you have encountered, or maybe someone who has experience involved in flood management activities in flood-prone areas? Okay, would you please share information here? Any of the students?
Yes, maybe any of the students from the Philippines in the middle of the lecture. Actually, we are still in the middle of the lecture. If you have any question, please feel free, or if you want to share about your area. I believe here in Indonesia and also in Philippines, we experience a heavy rainfall, and we have a lot of area that is prone with the flood. So is there anyone who want to share? If not, then we might continue first,
Okay.
and we will
Maybe
do a
the
sharing.
student can
Yes.
type on the chat box if there is any one want to share the experience. Okay. So the point is that an understanding of the interplay between flood, the development process, and poverty is vital. So the most important is that a community with a weak asset base and few multipliers of community well-being is exposed to many different disturbances, some of which may have a greater impact than floods. Decision makers and development planners at all levels need to be sensitive to this prospect. So we will talk about risk and vulnerability. What is a risk and what is a vulnerability? Risk is a combination of the change of a particular event with the impact the event would cause if it occurred. Risk therefore has two components: the change or probability of an event occurring and the impact or consequence associated with that event. The consequence of the event may be either desirable or undesirable. Vulnerability is a function of the ability of a society, community, or household to mobilize the assets available to meet the challenges posed by flooding. The capacity of the society to maintain or improve its quality of life in the face of such external disturbances may be enhanced either by reducing flooding or by improving their capacity to cope with the disturbances. This is the traditional flood management option. First, storing runoff, like we build reservoirs, detention basins, dam, etc. And the next is spiriting floods in the population, increasing the carrying capacity of rivers, source control to reduce runoff, emergency responses, recovery and rehabilitation. The second ones is not recommended. It's what is actual not recommended because at the first presentation, I already explained that separating floods in the population is not it's not
It's not
natural.
recommended. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, because water is one of what is
Source of life.
yeah, okay, yes. Jadi this the vital for human being. So we can separate or avoid people from the water resources. The shortcomings of past flood management practices, ad hoc and standalone, reactive rather than proactive, emphasis on structural measures, monodisciplinary, failure to learn from past. By the integrated flood management, so the flood management practice is we set to be proactive measures. Challenges of flood management, the increase of the population, the impact is economic development, vulnerability, climate variability, hazard frequency, upstream or urbanization, hazard magnitude. In the impact is the hazard magnitude, or the magnitude of the hazard is become higher. The second is securing livelihoods and ecosystem conservation.
Okay, Bu Laksni, sorry to interrupt. You have 10 more minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pudini. Challenges of flood management. The other challenges is climate variability and change. Absolutely, safety from flooding is a myth. As a myth, changes in the decision-making process. This is the what is the diagram of the IFM principles. First of all is risk management. We have three components for risk management: preparedness, mitigation and response, recovery and rehabilitation. This is example of mitigation action: planning and zoning, floodplain protection, property acquisition and relocation, or public outreach projects. Example of preparedness actions are installing disaster warning system, purchasing radio communication equipment, or conducting emergency response training. So we have to first prepare before the flood event was come up. So if the flood event come up here, we have well preparation. So the losses or the risk we can minimize. Water cycle as a whole. So if we will apply the IFM principles, we have to know about the water cycle, like flood and drought management, effective use of flood waters, groundwater and surface water interaction in floodplains. And then the next principle is the multi-hazard approach, cross-sectoral integration of disaster management strategies, not only for flood hazard, but other hazard that may be come up. Disaster risk assessment, early warning and forecast. River basin approach, we have to use river basin approach because water or river naturally will act according the characteristic of the river basin. Public participation, because the hazard was affected to the people, so it's very important to involve the public or community participation. IFM is towards an integration of land and water management, upstream and downstream, structural and non-structural, short-term and long-term, local and basin level measures, top-down and bottom-up decision-making, development needs, what ecologic and economic concerns, functional integration of institution. The characteristic of IFM, adoption of a layered approach of complementary option with regard to time and space, pre, inter, and post-flood measures, head reach, middle reach, and lower floodplains, short, mid, and long-term strategies. The characteristic of IFM, integration, particularly in terms of institutional arrangements like the Institution for Water Resource Management, the Institution for Integrated Flood Management, Land Use Management, Coastal Zone Management, and Hazard Management. This is the strategy and option for reducing flooding. We have some option of measures, dams and reservoirs, dikes, levees, and flood embankments, high flow diversion, and etc. The student can read themselves. Okay, maybe the student are from Philippines know about the what is flood prone area or area that frequently experiencing flood, that is in Davao City and San Juan. I have this information from the when I approached in the from the Facebook here and the Money Max. So okay. This is in Philippines also have IFM also has experienced the IFM. Maybe I can share from the from the link. Yeah, maybe you can see here what are the flood-prone areas in the Philippines. This web is the web for Money Max. I think this is the agency that can help the affected of the flood to repair like car or home or etc. I think about vehicle repairing. So they have identified the areas in Manila that frequently affected by flooded because of typhoon or heavy rainfall, etc. Rizal Avenue, like maybe a student from Philippines can give like a comment or explanation. Is that true that this area experiencing a flooding This is in Caloocan City. Yeah. Flooding in Caloocan City is usually caused by a river overflow, excessive rainfall, and inadequate channel capacity, like Rizal Avenue, ITC compound near General Louis Street, General Pio Villanueva Street to Lapu-Lapu Street. Okay, please, maybe the student from CPU can give a comment here. Flood prone areas in the Las Pinas. Maybe you are directly experience this flood. Okay, any comment for this? Okay, okay, maybe I will continue with the start from. Okay. So we have the slide about the research-based learning. We are in University of Merdeka Malang now develop learning curriculum based on outcome-based education. One of the outcome-based education is the research-based learning or project-based learning or case-based learning. So I will present about the learning that research-based is of the research experience for the students. This is the semester learning plan. The course name is drainage system for a student in 5th semester. This course studies urban drainage system, which include urban hydrology, domestic wastewater, etc. This course has 3 learning outcomes. The first is students are able to design new drainage channel and evaluate existing drainage channels using the best hydraulic section principle. This is the sub-course learning outcome. There are 2 GLOs, sub-GLOs. And then the second course learning outcome is the students are able to apply the concept of sustainable drainage as an alternative to inundation control in an urban areas. The third or the last course learning outcome is students are able to identify and develop alternative solution to drainage problem in an urban areas. This is the location of the study that have general problems. The basin area which is bounded by highways, railways, and neighboring villages. So this is the main road of the Malang city. Then the location that always flooded in the rainy season, not far from the main road. This area is like a basin with during the rainy season because it's bounded by the main road, the railway here, and the river here is a big drainage channel, the city drainage channel, and the neighborhood villages here. This area is frequently flooded. As a result, water cannot be flowed horizontally or vertically. because the groundwater is quite high here, 0.5 until 1.5 meter below the ground level, so the water cannot float vertically to the soil. Horizontally, the water cannot be flowed because there is a backwater from the this river, Lahar River. This is the students that carry out a survey of houses affected by flood. The student actually has experienced how the community here experience the flood. There is the lady that give explanation what happened during the heavy rainfall there, and this they give explanation what is very clearly because they truly experiences the hazard of flood and the losses of flood. There is so this you can see here how the building make the river, the area of the river is decreased, and when is the big flood flowing in the river, maybe this this building is carried away by the stream. This is the potential hazard here. This is the condition at the research site during the rainy season. We can see here people can use this flooding for swimming. They are still happy because they are enjoy the what is the flood here, and so they will not move from this area to other areas more safe from flood. This is the manifestation of the values of local wisdom in society. There is mutual cooperation and Javanese language is gotong royong, and living in harmony or guyub rukun, in the Javanese language. Residents who were not affected by flood help clean the house of residents affected by the flood, as well as providing temporary shelter and meal during the rain. This is the manifestation of the gotong royong and guyub rukun. So maybe from the student from the Philippines can explain, are there local wisdom values in the Philippines that have been embedded in the community that are used to support the people if there is any hazard that happen? Maybe you can give an example of the local wisdom there in the Philippines.
Maybe not yet.
Okay.
Maybe at the end of the class, yeah, we can have the sharing session. Thank you.
Okay. This is the data flood and losses that can collect by the students from their survey and the houses. There are three locations, namely RT01, RT02, RT03. RT is what is extend for rukun tetangga, is the division of villages in Indonesia under Rukun Warga or RW. RT is the lowest administrative division of Indonesia. RT is formed through consultation in the framework of community service set by the village or village.
You have 5 more minutes, Laksni. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The students survey the number of affected houses that already have already surveyed is about 20 houses, and the flood height minimum in centimeter 17, and the height maximum is about 82 centimeters. This is the data collection of flood losses. Here, the flood losses is about for per houses. Every one flood event, about $100. The losses, the total losses, about equal to $100. Compare with their salary, their average salary or income, only an average is $200. So they experience the maybe because of the losses, they have feel what is the risk of the flood is
Because they lost actually a lot of
Yeah.
money, like one single flood, they will lose like half of their income a month.
yeah, half income of their have already lost. So the people needs to want to have we do something to minimize the losses. There is a discussion, the students and the research team with the community to develop alternative solutions to minimize flood risks are as follows: renovate the houses of residents affected by flooding to be flood resistant or water resistant houses, installation of an appropriate early flood warning system, prevention of water ingress, backflow or backwater from city drainage channel to sewers in residential area. The three alternative solution is come up from the discussion of the community and the students. Topic following up the result of discussion with residents are also used as final project for students who are involved in research. Firstly, study on design criteria for flood resistant houses in Glintung Village. This is the location developed by Safril. And secondly, flood early warning system based on community local wisdom in the IoT era, a case study at Glintung Water Street or GWS Malang City developed by February. Study of pump capacity as an alternative solution for backflow control in Glintung Village, Malang City developed by Handy. Are the students here? Safril? Already joined?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. February already joined?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Handy? Already
Yes.
joined? Okay. This is the design criteria for flood resistant houses is developed was developed based on the composition of type of building damage and composition of type of property damage. The biggest damage is the type of broken floor, crack or broken, and the property damage is the electronic goods is the biggest affected by the flood. This is the design criteria of flood resistant house for wall. So you can read by your own. The floor and the description of foundation. That is I think that is suitable for the local of the study area. Design criteria of houses, electrical installation in buildings that are often flooded need to be considered because it will be very dangerous if the cables and electrical outlets are submerged in water. So this is the warning should be taken into account for all buildings that submerged in water. This is another research topic. In order to maximizing net benefit from floodplain that can use to ensure livelihood security and poverty alleviation, thereby reducing vulnerability. The name of the project is Energy Independence Program for the GWS community. The aim of the project is to reduce the use of electricity energy from the National Electricity Center to support urban farming operation. The urban farming is used to vegetable, fishing, and poultry farming and nearby lighting. A micro hydropower plant was developed using the water flow and the flood control channel and the GWS, which is about 100 meters long with a height difference of 2 meters. The power plant is pressure type water wheel with 8 prismatic blades and a diameter of 1.6 meters. There is the data analysis of the discharge for water wheel and low flow condition. The measurement in March until April this year. This is the result. So the conclusion of the result analysis is at low flow with a flow rate of 3 liters per second, the water wheel can rotate. The condition of the channel around the water wheel is placed to limit the maximum discharge of 15 liters per second with a water wheel rotation of 19 RPM rotate per minute and a voltage of approximately 40 volts. The plan to add an open channel or a closed channel or pipeline must really pay attention to the impact that follows. Further studies are needed on the placement of water wheels and additional discharge so that more electricity can be generated or the development of renewable energy technologies with different sources such as solar or wind. Thank you for watching. Okay, Ibu.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Laksni, for a very elaborate presentation about integrated flood management. I think this is very relatable. I believe both of the country, Indonesia and Philippines, right now we are having a rainy season. So flood management is very important. All right. We will have the Q&A session at the end of the class. Next, we will listen to the lecture by Professor Earl Daryl, a Grio, CE from Central Philippine University. Without further ado, Professor Earl, the platform is yours. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon and good day, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
So I'm Ma'am Grio, and I'll be talking about multi-risk assessment of heritage buildings. So this is my presentation outline, and in the interest of time, so I'll just proceed to my next slides. So let's go to heritage conservation. So according to architect Augusto Villalon, so conservation is a multidisciplinary means of safeguarding um, so it's a multidisciplinary means of safeguarding an old building. So each specialist, conservation architects, engineers, where we belong, urban planners, no, architectural and art historians, technicians, anthropologists, etc., other professionals, they contribute to this technical knowledge to the conservation of a heritage structure. Now, here are some of the heritage conservation methods. We have preservation. So this has the highest authenticity rating. And as defined, preservation is the cleaning and maintaining of a structure in order to extend its lifespan. So this is the optimum thing to do in heritage conservation. While restoration is the process in which interventions and additions that have been made to the structure at a later date are removed to return the structure to its original form. So the original look is returned and the added contemporary embellishments are removed. The third method of conservation is reconstruction, and this is the rebuilding of a faithful copy of the structure based on an original plan and done under strict supervision by a conservation team. And then we have common in Iloilo would be the adaptive reuse. So this is the adaptation of an old structure to allow the introduction of a modern function into the old structure. So old buildings are not demolished, but they are recycled into modern uses. While what we don't want, of course, is remodeling. So remodeling is the drastic renovation without regard to the structure's original state and changes its character completely. When an old structure is remodeled, its authenticity, ambience, and historical value are gone forever. Now, here is an example in Iloilo City of an adaptive reuse building. So this building, as you can see, this is in around 1900s. And this one was actually built by a group, a company which is into the business of selling products such as sugar, abaca fibers, wine, and paints. And then it was sold to Elizalde, the family of Elizalde. And then it became known as the Elizalde Building. And it became a house of trade in 1934. But from 1987 to 2009, so this building became a house for government offices, and especially the Commission on Audit, or the COA, and also the annex office of the Iloilo City Hall until 2010. So I think it was in 2011 that the City Hall had its own new building. So all the offices have been moved in that building. And then in 2014, so rehabilitation works were started by the National Historic Commission of the Philippines. And then in 2017, it opened to become the Museum of Philippine Economic History. So you can actually go here for free, no? Since it is owned by the government. And it's fairly easy to see because of its red brick color. Okay. We have heritage zones, a lot actually of heritage buildings, but we also have a heritage zone in the city proper. If you happen to be here in Iloilo City, the city proper, it's sort of an island because you cannot go there without crossing a bridge. No? And we have this area called the Calle, and this is known as the old central business district of Iloilo. So Calle was declared as a national heritage zone and a national heritage landmark in August 8, 2015. So the street houses many heritage structures that were built during the American period and has survived the wars. So we have the colored buildings. Now these are declared in different phases, bale, the different colors here indicated. No, they are always updating the heritage area, and the blue ones are the older ones, and then the yellow ones here are the newly declared heritage buildings in that area. Okay, now let's learn a little about Iloilo City. So Iloilo City, as I've researched, this is located some like 2,500 kilometers or so east of your place in Merdeka, Indonesia. And Iloilo City is actually, as you can see, no, parang we are in the heart of the country. No? So we are on Panay Island in the Philippines, and we are known, our area is known for the Spanish colonial churches and old houses. Now, things you can enjoy when you come here in Iloilo City. So first and foremost are the people. No? So we are said to be malambing, or that is actually soft-spoken and loving. And we also boast of our places that are of cultural heritage. And we do have a lot of river esplanades. No? As I can remember, since 2008, flooding was not anymore a problem here in Iloilo City because of the flood control project. So also the development of the river into esplanades has I think been effective also in deepening the river, no, the shallow ones, so that it can be also a form of control for the floods. And then we also boast of our universities here in Iloilo City. So we are an education hub for our part of the region. And of course, we also take pride in our flavorful food. No? So your tongue is gonna be excited tasting pancit molo, siopaw, bizcocho, and other native delicacies. We also have festivals, very festive festivals. In January, we have the Dinagyang, and also we have the Parao Regatta, which the Dinagyang is a tribal festivity, while the Parao Regatta is would showcase sailboats. Okay, and Iloilo City, by the way, is called the City of Love. Now, why do we need to do heritage conservation? So the reasons are listed here, but let me expound on this. No? So we want to preserve history through buildings. So old buildings are the people's connection to the past. They may represent already an irreplaceable cultural value. It can be more economical, no? Sa economic benefits. It can be more economical to preserve the building materials rather than replace them. So improvement must be made, however, such that they meet the modern codes. Of course, we also want to maintain beauty and character of the area. Old buildings have their own identity and distinctive character, like their decorative facades and unusual ventilation systems, and even the windows, special windows. And then we have environmental considerations. When we just rehabilitate and reuse our existing buildings, this would help greatly in the conservation of energy when new structures are being built. Okay, for the impact of hazards on heritage structures, so these are the recent ones which I have seen through Facebook. And in January of this year, there is this Typhoon Odette, and a house, an ancestral house, which is currently being used as a museum, was destroyed. You can see the damage done. And then these two pictures beside it are actually due to earthquake. So there's partial damage of a church, which is a World Heritage Site in Vigan, and also this building, which is a house, no, an ancestral house. In Iloilo, we did have this fire, big fire in the Calle Real area, which I presented a while ago. And today, if we plot what has been damaged by that fire in 1966, so it is about 3/4 of the city proper area. And our area of study for the researches that we did, or we are still doing, is here on this area. So it has been spared by the fire, but we would have had more heritage structures if not for the fire in 1966. Okay, let me go now to the role of structural engineering in heritage conservation. So here are the common reasons why we need structural engineers in doing the assessment of heritage or historic structures. First is if there are visible deterioration or known failure. There are corrosion of iron or steel, the roof members, there are cracks or dislocated masonry, the tilting of walls. Then an engineer, structural engineer, is called upon to assess the building. Structural failure due to design and construction of the buildings. Deterioration of the building enclosure, such as the facade and also the roof system due to water infiltration, corrosion of iron and steel, and rotting of wood, which is the common material for our old structures. The lack of documentation also falls upon us to perform structural analysis. Okay, and then there would oftentimes be changes in the occupancy, and oftentimes there would be an increase in the loading. So this would now require also for us to analyze the structure. And notably, we are there always when there would be severe events such as earthquakes, winds, floods, and blasts or fires. Okay, and of course, we are also called upon when we need to determine whether the heritage structure has complied with the heritage preservation requirements. So therefore, structural engineering is actually the key to cultural heritage preservation and also disaster risk reduction. So heritage structures must be assessed and retrofitted versus the hazards that may lead to more damages to our heritage structures. Now, in the structural evaluation, we have 3 levels. And as we go up, it becomes more costly, it becomes more complicated, and it becomes more time consuming. Okay, for the level 1, we can do the RVS, or we have the rapid visual screening, wherein we have a checklist form. And for level 2, we can do detailed inspection and perform NDT, the non-destructive tests, or the semi-destructive tests with the computer modeling when we now have the data analyzed. And level 3 would be for the nonlinear analysis and, of course, structural retrofitting. So in level 1, rapid screening, so this is usually used for prioritization of ranking the buildings according to being high risk for a certain hazard or risk. And then here we can group the buildings according to asset values and their importance or use. And we could also rank, as I've mentioned, the buildings according to the scores that they have when we do the screening. And we can therefore prioritize which buildings need immediate attention for a more detailed structural evaluation based on the risk rating. And we could use this RVS to decide what action must be done on the buildings. Do we need retrofitting? Do we need strengthening or urgent repairs or maintenance for the structure? Level 2, we have the non-destructive and semi-destructive tests. So here, the objective of doing, for example, the rebound hammer test or scanning the rebars for its location, or doing the semi-destructive test of getting samples from structural elements. We can actually get the material, no? The material properties, no? The mechanical properties of the materials. And then the challenge here is actually to have a portable and effective non-destructive test for our heritage structures, especially for unreinforced masonry, for wood, and even for reinforced concrete heritage structures. So here are examples of the performance of the SDT or the concrete core testing, getting samples from a structural element. And then we can do rebound hammer tests, and we can also do locate the rebars, and our instrument can also detect even the size of the rebars that have been used. Now, we don't have this, but having an ultrasonic pulse velocity or UPV for the non-destructive test would be helpful in identifying or describing the quality of concrete. Okay, so you can see how dense the material is, or the presence of voids in the material. Okay, so in the level 2, we can do computer modeling and assessments by the use of softwares. And in level 3, so this one is structural retrofitting. And here we have a lot of challenges. So we need to do structural retrofitting so that our historic materials are preserved and retained. And we should respect the character and integrity of the historic building. And it is said that the retrofitting work should actually be reversible. So meaning that you can remove it to a certain extent if you again would have to repair or do further maintenance of the structure. Now, CPU and De La Salle University in Manila have long been partners in research collaboration efforts, no? And we started actually in 2013, wherein our BSc students, the undergrads, assisted in the collection and analysis of data. So here, 3 research titles were derived from the same set of data, which was used for now Engineer Kirk Hughes BS and masteral program student thesis. The output of what they did is actually a very important output, is this guide to risk assessment of heritage buildings, as well as presentation in international conference on cultural heritage and disaster risk reduction. So the data that was collected and analyzed were actually assisted by the CPU students. Now, the Cherish project, which is in Calerial, Iloilo City, which I've shown you a while ago, in 2019, it evolved into a new collaboration, this time with the University College London of the United Kingdom. So 3 local universities, University of the Philippines, here also in Iloilo City, the Visayas branch, and then Central Philippine University, and again the LaSalle University in Manila, collaborated for the Cherish project, which is actually cultural heritage resilience and sustainability to multiple hazards. So Calerial is our area of study, and so it was the area of study since the 2013 research, the 2019 by the UCL, and in 2020 we actually started a new funding agency was present to fund the research for this same area. So we still have an ongoing research on this. Okay, in 2019, so the output of these are the masteral students of University College London with their professor, and we also have the masteral student, the doctorate student from the LSU, and here are the undergraduate students from CPU. So the output of this one is this paper, which is actually published in the Natural Hazards and Earth System Sciences. So a multi-hazard risk prioritization framework for cultural heritage assets. During the Cherish project, when the University of College London visited us, so that was around July of 2019. So our undergraduate students had the opportunity to learn things like using RVS forms, using the form developed by UCL. They also had training, or they were able to take hold of the thermal scanner or the rebar locator. And then there were Omni cameras used. And they were able to see also how to process the data through the building information modeling software. And at that time, drones were used for roof inspection. Okay, so another paper was produced describing the methods used by the UCL. And then in 2020, as I've mentioned, we started a new collaboration, and this time it was funded by CHED, and the research proposal was approved, and the local universities took part in this one, the UPV, the LSU, and CPU, through the partnership of UK, because the funds are actually taken from the Newton Fund institutional links. And the start of the project was affected by the pandemic, but several activities were conducted in early 2021. And during the early part of 2021, there was a memorandum of agreement for institutional cooperation, which was entered into by the 3 universities. And in around April of 2021, we had less restrictions, and we were able to have face-to-face workshop. This is actually a blended learning modality. The people in Manila are there in Manila. And here we were able to invite the government sectors. We involved the Iloilo City government offices related to our study, which included the Office of the Building Official, the city engineer's office, the city planning office, the city environment and natural resources office. And we have actually a private sector which under the executive order of our mayor was created, no? And this is the Iloilo City Cultural Heritage Conservation Council. And the academe, so again, the universities collaborated and we had speakers from these universities. The CPU BSCE3 students were participants online via Zoom for this event. Now let me just show you an example of the instrument that we use for the RVS. No? This is for wind, and for the three risks that we have, wind, earthquake, and fire, we actually would assess the hazard, the vulnerability of the structure, which the structures, and we also consider the modifiers for the vulnerabilities. No? So in the wind hazard rating, for example, so there is this criteria for the basic wind speed and the building vicinity, the soil foundation. By the way, the full guideline on this one was the manual developed by the LSU. And we updated in 2021, we updated the instrument based on the new building codes that we have and new sources of information. Okay. We again would have the vulnerability assessment, which includes the structural vulnerability. And there are a lot of items to consider here. Now, let me show you an example of how we did with the workshop. No? So let me show you a short clip. Is it playing? No. Oh, it's not. I would have to go out of my, so let me. It's not playing there, so. Having trouble playing the video. So anyway.
Professor Grio, you have 5 more minutes. Thank you.
So we have this one. No, it won't show. So anyway, here. Okay, can you see that? So during
Yes.
okay. So during the talk, I mean the workshop, so we provide the screen, and wherein the participants can actually see this, and then they can the description, and they can do join this and then assess the given figure and post their vote, whether it's low, medium, or high risk. So this is how we do it. Okay. So I'll proceed to my next slide. So that is what we did for the and then we have for the Cherish project, now we have methodologies. And here, the CPU BSc students are actually involved in the photo RVS and under close supervision by the Cherish core team. So it's a photo RVS. While the fire risk is already a that's face-to-face assessment. So here, the students who were formerly involved were also involved in the face-to-face fire risk assessment of structures. And this is the Cherish project team. During the photo RBS, we get to have a virtual immersion program. There were 24 students, and present in the final presentation were people from the LGU, from the local government unit, and also the faculty members. And the students learned about the different types of how to present the results. They used tables, and they were able to visually explain what is happening to the heritage structures through the use of pie and bar charts. And a very beautiful output of that immersion program was the development of a infographic magazine. So these are actually presented to the Cherish team, which has been now the basis also for making our report for CHED. This is good for the tourism aspect of the heritage structures. And this is the Cherish, so the CPU Cherish project team when we did the fire risk rapid visual survey sometime in July. So this is our daily schedule for 5 days. We have been in the area and na-learn ang non-destructive test. So we leveled up to non-destructive test for one of the buildings in Iloilo City. Here, the students have learned how to use the rebound hammer and also the rebar scanner. And we have the CPU Cherish project team, almost complete from Manila during one of their visits. And we have, of course, an output because of the offshoot of the Cherish project, and that is we applied what we knew from the Cherish project to the campus itself, which is a very old campus. We were we were here since 1905, and we are actually in the 117th year this year. Our campus is recognized by the Iloilo City government as a tourism site. And in the campus, we have a lot of buildings. These are the heritage buildings with multi-use or multi-purpose. And an output additional other than what has been discussed, the students were able to develop the fire risk map and also the building information sheet for each of the structures in the campus. Okay, so this is the RVS team. And if I may, now I'd like to show you the a short video of the activities and learnings of the RVS team students.
Good day everyone, I am Justin Ken Cabinera, a senior civil engineering student from Central Philippine University, and today I'll be sharing my experiences during the multi-risk assessment of heritage buildings on our campus. But first, I would like to thank all the faculty and staff from the University of Merdeka, Malang and Central Philippine University, as well as my fellow students for being present today. I am the overall leader of the 3 teams who conducted the risk assessment. I still remember the first day of the rapid visual survey when we were able to enter the campus after a while since the COVID pandemic. The feeling was surreal. But when we were doing the assessment of the 25 buildings for 4 days, we encountered various problems along the way. 3 major problems are, first is the health and safety concern posed by the virus. Since we are to travel to Central Philippine University, it is undeniable that we can become exposed to COVID. But with strict compliance with health protocols, we were able to finish the assessment safely. Second is the accessibility of the buildings. Some of the buildings were locked because they are not being used during that time. To address that problem, we asked for the assistance of the university to access the buildings and conduct the assessment effectively. Third and last is the problem with the building demographics. As we were studying heritage structures, it is expected for data about them to be incomplete or worse, not recorded at all. So to answer that, we coordinated with the university offices, did our research, and had some interviews with the staff to gather enough data. Despite being confronted with the said constraints, we were able to push through the assessment. For me, our passion to preserve both the tangible and intangible aspects of those buildings made the assessment doable and worthwhile. The thought of being able to secure the history that each structure witnessed made us feel like some sort of special cops with a secret mission. I know that not many from our generation will find heritage buildings interesting, but I implore the students here to advocate preserving heritage structures. It is up to us, the younger generation, to keep our past from being eroded away. May we value the heritage buildings in our places as much as we value structures built presently. As I quote from Dr. Oreta and Engineerio of De La Salle University, Manila, heritage buildings are important to our national identity because they convey stories about our culture, inform people of who we are, and breathe tales that we inherit, develop, and pass along. Remember that we can build the tomorrow that we desire starting today, but we owe today from yesterday. That's it for me. And once again, thank you for everyone and have a nice day.
Okay, so that was the experience, no? And a few more slides. So we have, in summary, no, we had a lot of research outputs in the undergraduate students level. And we also had a lot of research outputs for both postgraduate students and faculty members of the different collaborating institutions as listed here. And so where are we going now? So currently the Cherish project included the social, economic, legislative, environmental, and architectural values of the heritage buildings, as well as the impressions about the heritage zone. So Cherish Project has many planned out forums with experts and the different stakeholders in Iloilo City to influence policies in heritage conservation. The Cherish Project also aims to develop a structural assessment guide to complement the current manual used by the Heritage Council. And in the case of CPU, hardbound copies of the CPU RVS for fire, wind, and seismic risk have been forwarded to the Office of the President. And currently, a new batch of B.Sc. for students will conduct a similar research at Philamer Christian University in Rojas City. So with this, I would like to thank the University of Merdeka, Malang, Indonesia, for this opportunity to share with you our experience. And of course, the Cherish Project team, the faculty and students, of course, our LGU in the city, and especially also to the CPU RBS teams who has been with me through the journey in Cherish and also in the assessment of structures inside the campus. And of course, to our seminar participants, thank you for your presence, and I hope that you have learned a lot from my presentation. So good afternoon, and thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Grio, for a very elaborate presentation on multi-race assessment of heritage buildings. Now we will have the Q&A session. Please kindly type in your questions in the Zoom chat box. Kindly state your name, where do you come from, and followed by a question. We are still waiting for the questions from the participant. While waiting for the question, actually, it is very interesting topic about heritage building, because here in Malang, we also have a lot of heritage building, because in fact, both of our countries were colonized before. In Indonesia, we were colonized by the Dutch. So we have a lot of building that was built in the early of 1900 here. We still have the church, school, and also the park as well here in Malang. I hope one day maybe you can bring your students to travel here to learn more about our heritage building here. And thank you so much for sharing your program, Cherry's program. Very interesting program. We can have the students joining with the lecturer and conduct the research. All right, is there any questions? I think all of our students are shy. They don't really ask questions. Okay, just to let you know, we are going to have the photo session after this. So please get ready, everyone, to have your camera on. If we don't have any questions, then we will have the photo session first. Okay, please have your camera on. I'm sorry, I cannot have the virtual background because there's some problem with the camera in my computer. It's now okay. Let me take your picture. Can you please turn on your camera, everyone, and smile? Okay, I will count 1, 2, 3 for the first page. I will take the next page. Okay, 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Right. The next page. We have 9 pages, by the way. It's a lot. Okay. Okay, I'll take some more picture. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And okay, 1, 2, 3. Right. We have a lot of students from the Philippines joining today. Thank you so much for joining. 1, 2, 3. Okay. One more. And the last one. 1, 2, 3. All right. We don't have any questions so far. I think they are just shy. They don't want to have any questions, but I believe all of us are learning so much from Dr. Laksni and also from Professor Grio. Okay, I have one question here. Okay, from Justin, from CVU. What are the ideas you can share about how do you go with the floodplain zoning to Dr. Laksni? Floodplain zoning, the zoning of the floodplain. Dr. Laksni?
Okay, thank you for the Justin. Actually, until now, I have not yet do with the floodplain zoning. What we have done is to risk management for the floodplain and build what is early warning system there. And we have research about how to minimize the flood risk and flood loss, such as design of the water resistant houses and how to decrease the inundation height what is a step by step, we analyze how if we decrease 10 centimeters of the inundation height, how many costs, how many pump we need. So it's equal to the cost of the to minimize the inundation height. That's what is we have already done in this study area.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Laksni. Okay, so Justin Ken Gabinera. Okay, so far, Dr. Laksni and the team haven't done the floodplain zoning, but what she has done is integrated flood management, where she and her team are able to decrease the minimize of the flood. Okay, we have next question from Arye or Arje Palma from Central Philippine University. The question about heritage conservation. Disastrous storms are much stronger right now at the moment. How can we strengthen our heritage side to be able to withstand such disaster or hazard in the future? Professor Grio. What do you think about this? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, RJ, for that question. So the conservation of structures, no, due to our current more disastrous storms is really a challenge. So I think my internet is unstable. So I think what we can do, no, as mentioned, is to try to maintain it, have a regular review of the structures. And as engineers, we are actually challenged to evaluate how we can make it stronger despite the storm. And at the same time, we should not we should respect the structure, no? Since it is a heritage structure. So yeah, so there are ways to make it stronger, but it's gonna be a balance between employing methods which would change the character of the structure.
Okay.
So we need to balance.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Grio. So in order not to change the character of the structure, you also need to balance out everything, right? Okay, thank you so much. And we have other questions from Parluhutan Nofri Hutagao from Unmer. What are your steps to ensure that by using the concept, the resident can overcome the impact of the flood damage and the cost for the local community can be affordable? To Dr. Laksni.
Okay, thank you, Bu Rini. I think I will ask the student from Unmer to answer the question. Maybe Safril, can you answer the question? He is a team of the research group.
All right.
Safril?
Thank you for the question. And maybe my answer is when we make the concept about the building that have a flood proofing, of course, we pay attention to the economic condition of the residents who are middle lower classes. The first step is to use the construction material that are already commonly used. Furthermore, the material is also ensured to be able to withstand the damage that can be caused by the flood. And the last is to make a price comparison between the damage suffered by the residents and the cost of the repairing their houses. And for example, I have done a calculation. When we renovate the wall using the ceramic tile, it will be cost around 80.8 million rupiah but the renovation using the ceramic tile can last more than 10 years. And if we calculate it again, the average cost per year is less than 1.85 million rupiah. Then, if we renovate using the waterproof paint, its will cost around 4.5 million rupiah. This waterproof paint is able to last up to 3 years maybe. And when we calculate it again, the annual cost is around 1.5 million rupiah. However, if the residents make repair from the flood every year to repaint the houses with the ordinary paint, it will cost just around 2.2 million rupiah. But this repair must be done every year. So from that explanation, it can be concluded that renovating houses using the wet floodproofing concept can save the expense and be more affordable. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Safril. Actually, you're answering the next question as well, because the next question is about why are you not using the dry floodproofing method instead of the wet floodproofing? So it is to save the money, right, Safril?
Yes, that's also partially answer that question. But also the wet waterproofing, wet floodproofing concept is used because the dry floodproofing is too difficult to apply at that location. It will be more expensive. The way that water cannot enter the building is to raise the building or make the building to floors. That will be cost more than the wet water.
It is more expensive, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Is there any more questions or discussion? You're still waiting? Okay. All right. So far, no more question. Okay. All right. If we don't have any more questions, I think we have come to the end of our class. Thank you so much, Professor Grio and Dr. Laksni, and also to our students. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you for joining this class. I believe you're learning so much today. Thank you and see you again soon. Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Safril, for the good answer of the two questions.
You're welcome.